Welcome back to Ready Player None, the only podcast bringing you my 16-bit tones, talking about 8-bit games and a 2-bit hack author. Today we're looking at Chapter 13, an unlucky number for some, but for me it tells us that we're a third into this book, and our long international nightmare may soon be over. In this chapter we find that H cleared the first gate early the next day, and he ranks on the scoreboard underneath Artemis. The Oasis has changed overnight. Many of Wade's fellow pupils have bunked off of school so that they can go egg hunting, or gunting, and as I'd previously suspected, with students not having their real usernames on campus, Wade is incognito as Wade3 rather than Parzival. Roaming the halls unnoticed, I decided that I enjoyed having a secret identity. It made me feel like Clark Kent or Peter Parker. I thought my dad would probably have gotten a kick out of that. Wade's dad, of course, being a cool guy, despite how he died. In the afternoon, IROC sends emails to H and Wade, trying to blackmail them. He said that if we didn't tell him how to find the copper key in the first gate, he would post what he knew about us to every Gunter message board he could find. Wade and H refuse, and IROC makes good on his threat. Despite there being hundreds of other Gunters claiming to be our close personal friends, IROC's messages are noticed by at least 2 other Gunters. The day after IROC let the cat out of the bag, the name Daito appeared in the 4th slot on the scoreboard. Then, less than 15 minutes later, the name Shoto appeared in the 5th slot. Somehow, they'd both obtained a copy of the copper key. Copy of the copper key on the same day, without waiting for the server to reset at midnight. Then, a few hours later, both Daito and Shoto cleared the first gate. The book goes on to say that Daito and Shoto are the Japanese names for samurai swords. The 2 avatars have come out of nowhere, but they cleared the first gate just like that. When worn as a set, the 2 swords were called Daisho, and this quickly became the nickname by which the 2 of them were known. I have a bad feeling about this. We're either going to have in-universe cultural appropriation, or out-of-universe, completely interchangeable Japanese people. We shall see. 4 more Gunters rank on the scoreboard in the next 4 days, while Wade drifts from class to class. Luckily, I only had 2 months of school left, and I'd already earned enough credits to graduate, even if I coasted from here on out. So he spends his time trying to figure out the Jade Key riddle, which he's now nicknamed the Quatrain, which is a term for a poem with 4 lines and an A-B-A-B rhyme scheme. And just to remind you of the riddle in question, the captain conceals the Jade Key in a dwelling long neglected, but you can only blow the whistle once the trophies are all collected. What captain was Anorak talking about? Captain Kangaroo? Captain America? Captain Buck Rogers in the 25th century? Buck Rogers? Is that some sort of Duck Dodgers parody? At first, Wade connects the dwelling long neglected with a dilapidated house from Revenge of the Nerds. Revenge of the Nerds nostalgia doesn't really fly well these days. But searching the recreation of the Revenge of the Nerds house turns up nothing. In trying to figure out the last 2 lines, he wonders whether the line blow the whistle means a literal whistle, or does it mean to reveal a secret or alert someone to a crime? I continued to go over each line, word by word, until my brain began to feel like Aquafresh toothpaste. He can't even say his brain's feeling like mush without referencing a popular brand. After school on the Friday, Wade sits in a tree and goes through his millions of emails. Letters of congratulation, pleas for help, death threats, interview requests. Several long, incoherent diatribes from Gunters whose quest for the egg had clearly driven them insane. He's also got requests to join the top 4 most popular Gunter clans. Some of them have got fairly normal names, like Clan Destiny, the Keymasters, and Team Banzai, but the first one he mentions is called the Oviraptors. Ugh, I don't like that at all. What would an Oviraptor even be? Some sort of dinosaur that lays eggs in you? Don't like that. Breaking news! An Oviraptor's actually a real dinosaur. I thought it was a gross fetish portmanteau. Back to our episode, already in progress. Among his emails, he also has several endorsement deal offers from companies who wanted to use Parzival's name and face to sell their services and products. So he's got offers to promote haptic rings, gloves and visors outside of the Oasis, as well as pizza delivery, a shoe manufacturer, an online store that sold custom avatar skins. There was even a toy company that wanted to manufacture a line of Parzival lunchboxes and action figures, and he accepts all of these. Yeah, fair enough. If you ever want to pay me huge sums of money to promote your product, well, my contact details are at the end of the episode. You gotta respect the hustle, man. He electronically signs all the contracts and sends them a 3-dimensional model of his avatar. I also received requests for an audio clip of my avatar's voice.
So I sent them a synthesized clip of a deep baritone that made me sound like one of those guys who did voiceovers for movie trailers.
His first round of payments is due to come within the next 48 hours. It's not a lot of money, but to a kid who'd grown up with nothing, it seemed like a fortune. He works out that if he lives frugally, he can afford to rent a small apartment for a year and finally escape the stacks. Again, respect for that. Dream big, lad. He also discovers that he's received over 5,000 emails from innovative online industries. Actually, they'd sent me 5,000 copies of the same email. They'd been resending the same message all week since my name first appeared on the scoreboard. And they were still resending it once every minute. The Sixers were mail bombing me to make sure they got my attention. The emails were all marked maximum priority, with the subject line, "Urgent business proposition, please read immediately." The email supposedly comes from Nolan Sorrento, head of operations at IOI. He's writing to Parzival about a highly lucrative business proposition, though he says they can discuss the terms in a private chat link session. Wade gets first refusal on whatever the proposition is, but if he rejects the proposal, IOI is planning to approach each of his competitors. Despite the message's reasonable tone, the threat behind it was crystal clear. The Sixers wanted to recruit me, or they wanted to pay me to tell them how to find the copper key and clear the first gate. As we all know, corporations are evil, but only the ones that want to buy secret information and not the ones that want to pay you sponsorship deals. Despite Wade's initial revulsion, he plans to accept the chat link. I wanted to know exactly what IOI was going to offer, and I couldn't pass up the chance to meet Nolan Sorrento, the Sixers' infamous leader. He's so infamous that 133 pages into a 372-page book we've only just mentioned him for the first time. I considered teleporting to Incipio before my interview to buy a new skin for my avatar, maybe a tailored suit, something flashy and expensive. But then I thought better of it. I had nothing to prove to that corporate asshat. After all, I was famous now. I would roll into the meeting wearing my default skin and a f*** attitude. I would listen to their offer, then tell them to kiss my simulated ass. Maybe I'd record the whole thing and post it on YouTube. Man, Wade is being really relatable in this chapter. I don't like it. To prepare for his interview, Wade swats up on Nolan Sorrento. Before joining IOI, he was a high-profile RPG designer, and of course Wade has played all his games. He'd been a decent coder back before he sold his soul. It was obvious why IOI had hired him to lead their lackeys. They figured a game designer would have the best chance of solving Halliday's grand video game puzzle. But after 5 years, they've got nothing to show for it. He idly wonders that it's Sorrento's superiors putting the pressure on him to try and catch up with the Gunters. Once I'd done my homework on Sorrento, I felt like I was ready to sit down with the devil. I pulled up the contact card attached to Sorrento's email and tapped the chat link invitation icon at the bottom. End chapter 13. Bit of a short chapter this time. So Wade faces his newfound fame by accepting all that money from his new sponsors, but getting ready to refuse a deal from IOI. I feel like he could have done some more homework into which companies are going to use his face and voice to promote their products. He only has an issue with accepting money from the company that has been designated as evil. It's a bit rich that there's a part here where he declines offers from movie studios and book publishers trying to buy the rights to his life story. And I suppose that's where we'll have to leave it. I feel like this episode's running a little bit short, so I'm going to put out some completely uneducated wild guesses. Nolan Sorrento is the mid-boss. If he was your main villain, you wouldn't just drop him in 130 pages in. A third of the way of the book. You kidding? As easy as it is to say that the Faceless Corporation is the main enemy, I feel like there's something else going on. Okay, wild guess. I don't know how, and I don't know why, but the main enemy is going to be Ogden Morrow. He was described as Albert Einstein meets Santa Claus. That's definitely trying too hard to get us to like him, and he's been shown to be a bit more of a wild card than his reputation would have us believe. I'm going to leave that in this episode, and if I'm right, we can say that I saw it coming, and if I'm wrong, you can all laugh at me. But no, this guy Nolan Sorrento, he seems like a complete nobody. But I guess we'll find out next chapter when Wade has his interview with the devil. Till then, I've been Gherkin. You can find me on Twitter, @TheLastGherkin. You can follow the show on Twitter, @RPN_pod. Watch along with subtitles on YouTube, The Last Gherkin. And listen along as an MP3 at thelastgherkin.podbean.com. Till next time. Seriously, sponsors, get in touch. I'll do shaving blades, I'll do underpants, I'll do VPNs, I'll do your mobile game, I'll do your online workshops, I'll do your university courses, I do birthday parties, weddings and bar mitzvahs. He preps for his meeting by... I'm not saying prep. He prepares for his meeting by... Hold on, helicopter.